Hey everybody, welcome to Board Online, Board Offline. Today we're bringing you another video from another channel. Today we've got the Legends of Nerdvana. This is a group of gamers working their way through a 3,000 game collection, and if I know gamers, probably adding a few to that number along the way. So if you want to see more from Legends of Nerdvana, be sure to check the link in the description below. And now let's get to the video.
Hello everyone, today we got
Howdy y'all. This is Western Wednesday.
Howdy y'all. Today we got to play Carson City. And so this is obviously a tile placement, worker placement game. Tell us a little more about it, Rob.
Before we do that though, please
Hit the subscribe button.
And the notification bell.
And comment if you want to.
Because you really want to know and see more videos from us.
Yeah,
so.
especially these Western ones.
That's right.
We look awesome in these get up.
Hey, I look fantastic. I can't speak for you.
You look fantastic all the time. I look ridiculous.
Whatever, Marshall.
It reminds me of growing up in Texas.
I'm a Texas Ranger. Thank you very much. It says so right here on the badge.
All
right. So Carson City. This is the big box version, which happens to have all the previously released expansions up at the time of the release date of the big box. Designer Xavier Georges. Artist is Alexander Roche. Published by Quined Games. Plays 2 to 6 players. Now, I could not find an MSRP. Randy didn't remember how much you paid for it when he got it, but I did see it at the Geek Market for $120.
Okay, cool. All right, so quality of pieces. You have standard, or not, I shouldn't say standard, cowboy meeples.
That's right.
They're actually pretty cool. You've got wooden guns to show your defense, offense capability.
Gun dice.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
Gun
have,
dice are pretty cool.
Which is pretty neat.
we only used once this whole game.
Because we played a nice game.
Yeah.
We did, because they wanted me to play it again. And then you've got cardboard tiles, the board as well. So there's basically a bunch of wooden tiles, bunch
of cardboard.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cardboard, but there's a couple of nice pieces in here.
Yeah, some of them are pretty good. Some of them are kind of eh.
I think the roll tiles are pretty nice.
The roll tiles are
they
really
got
nice.
really good art and good thick cardboard, and looks like pretty good quality. The building tiles are okay.
Yeah.
Whereas these are chintzy.
Yeah. Well, they're going at the bottom, so I don't.
I understand, but it's still
still
not great.
The houses look just like giant Monopoly houses. Yeah. They're a little disappointing, but they are bigger than the guys. So at least they did it so the guy could potentially.
So what did the
go
game
into
come
house.
with as far as money? Since we used your chips?
The money, it was these cardboard tokens. They're not bad. I mean, as far as cardboard tokens go, they're not horrible, but I much prefer using the poker chips. And I think it goes with the
but that
theme
looks like a
too.
pretty decent cardboard
Yeah,
stock.
they're not
Yeah,
bad.
it's all right.
They're not bad for as far as cardboard money goes. But
So give it a score, guys.
I don't know.
I really like the
7.
board.
I'd say 7.
Yeah.
7? I feel like a 7.
I think 7's fair. I mean, I think the board is really nice, but
Yeah, but there's a lot of meh stuff too. I mean, it's kind of a balance.
Yeah.
It could have got higher. So,
Yeah.
7.
7's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So moving on to theme.
So thematically, I really think this captures the essence of the Old West. You're building a town in the West, all of the different functions, and there's more to add. I mean, there's a ton of extras that we didn't play with in the game. That add horses and the different things that we were missing when we played Tiny Epic Western that didn't make it have a Western feel. You know, this one doesn't have as much gambling in it, but there is a gambling space. So, I mean, they captured a little bit of it in there. And you can rob in this one. You can.
Yeah. I think this brought in the more lawful life of the Western versus unlawful.
This game did, but we could have played it much meaner, and we didn't.
Yeah. The unlawful is when you're robbing each other's banks or robbing. I mean, that is in the game. We just didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole purpose of the bandit over here is to do robbing.
We didn't do that.
No, nobody took them. But if you played this with 6 players,
you'd have to.
You'd almost have to.
Well, to be fair, if there were 6 players trying to fight over this board, it would be.
That's why you would have to.
Yeah,
Because
I
the
mean-
board doesn't get any
Otherwise.
bigger. It's that size. So
Yeah, I could see that getting a little gruesome.
I mean, we filled about half the board with 3 players. I mean, and
We could have done more if we would have kind of developed that kind of strategy of the building strategy. We did a little bit of building, but we didn't even do a whole. You did more than anybody.
mhm.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think that if we
Yeah,
all built as heavy as you did, we'd have filled it up.
yeah.
yeah. And I think there was a way to kind of compact it a little bit, which we didn't have a need to do, so we
Right.
didn't do it.
I'm kind of glad we didn't play a mean version of the game because it was confusing, and we'll talk about that in the rules. But I was kind of confused for the first round and a half to 2 rounds.
All right, so let's give Theme a score.
I really think this one is probably, as far as the Western goes, I think it captures it pretty darn well. I'm going to probably give this 8.5, I think, is where I'm at.
What about you?
No, what about you?
No, I want to go last.
No, you always go last. What about you?
I think you should duel for it.
Let's roll.
Let's roll for it.
I got 3.
I got
But
3.
she got more
But
guns.
she got more guns.
No,
All
you
right.
got the bonus token of guns. So you
Yeah,
got
I
extra
got
guns.
more guns. So
No, it's average.
Yeah, you tied actually.
all right. So I'm a little bit lower. I think I'm a 7.
Wow, that's a lot lower.
No,
Actually, I agree with that 7. I'm
Oh,
right there with
I mean,
you.
it definitely feels it, but I mean, it could have been anything really.
I mean,
No, I think it is Western.
Oh, it is.
It
but-
just doesn't. It's not heavy. Like I don't know. It's just.
I thought it is. I mean, the board it looks just like what you see as far as all the old West signs.
Yeah, but I guess it's
Yeah.
just I just think maybe the mechanics don't feel Western.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's got a Western. It's definitely Western. I'm not arguing that, but thematically, it doesn't push the theme.
And I'm
the
not-
mechanics doesn't push.
I'm
the
not
theme.
gonna lie. It was a little boring for me. Like it just didn't give me. Most of the time, like I
You
don't
would have been bored if we were attacking you.
Yeah.
Oh, but then I would have been pissed. So a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I don't know. So
But yeah, I think 7. I might be twisted to 7.5.
no, I'm at 7. I'm good with 7.
So, all right.
Okay.
What about rules?
The rule book it was confusing. There was
It
some parts
was.
that were a little hard
It
to grasp, especially around the buildings and the functionality of turning them. Now,
Yeah.
granted, it would have been less confusing if we had read all the rules in advance, but
Listen, guys, I was falling asleep. Robert was falling asleep. It was not good. Okay.
it was a dry read. I'll give you that. But
It was definitely
we had to go
dry.
back and try to figure out the buildings after the fact, which made it confusing because we didn't understand about
Mhm.
when you were going to get to turn them, and it's actually just a marker as far as what the money, the value of that building is.
Yeah,
so you
and
don't
there-
have to go back and,
And there's
check
no
it.
cheat sheet. I mean, there's this thing with all
Yeah.
this iconography, which isn't helpful.
Well, on the
at
back,
all.
it's got the sequence of events too. So it's in 4 different languages, but yeah, it's got a little bit of a cheat sheet, not much.
I was confused enough that I think that if I understood a little bit better, I might have done a little bit better in the game.
Yeah.
But the first round and a half to 2 rounds, I really didn't understand the building and the value of the building and how to be able to really get the most value out of the building when you
Yeah.
built it.
I think
And so I think if I had understood that earlier, I might have had a more competitive chance.
There were also a few typos in it as
Yeah.
far as they weren't ones that caused major confusion, but there were definitely spelling typos and such. I'm probably going to give it a 6.5. It's not quite. I don't think it's quite 7 level, but it wasn't horrible. It's just we didn't read a lot of it.
I have to agree because it was a snooze fest.
it was. I mean, it was. Rules for me, it was dry. I agree. 6.5.
It was
I
a
mean,
snoozer.
yeah. So moving on to gameplay. So there are essentially 4 different parts of the action. Or 4 parts of the game. So the first one is your choice of personality. So based on turn order, the first player picks the different roles. There are 7 different roles that you can choose from.
Well, there's 7 currently. There's a total of 19 different character roles in the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
these
each
were
one of
just the
them is
7 that we
two-sided. So, in essence, there's 38 different characters you can play
Wow. Okay. So, but then you choose your
Roll.
role that you're going to do. And then everyone chooses their role, and then it moves on to cowboy placement. So you get an amount of workers per round. It slowly increases. There are roles that let you buy additional or gain some extra. So with that being said, and then you're going to place them. So there's a lot of different placement opportunities. You can place them actually on the map to build your plot land, like claim your area. There are money options, gun options, road options. Also, there's going to be buildings that you can put your worker on to own. There is options to spend money for different things, as well as get victory points, for different conditions, being money, plots, guns, etc., and so forth. So after that, then after those cowboys are placed, then you go through and you do all those actions. It is a snake, so you just keep following the route and you do those actions based on that. And then the end of turn goes. So you calculate. Well, at one point you calculate all your income. Each role has a max capacity of how much money you can carry over,
which I thought was an interesting part to the game.
Yes, I did too. If you reach over that, you can choose to spend 10 money for a victory point, up to that. So that made it challenging. That kicked my butt more than a few. Like out of the 4 rounds, 3 times I had excess money that I ended up just losing.
Well, you got victory points, but you didn't get as many as you would have liked.
I know, right?
Yeah, and the last 4 action spaces on the track are where you can buy victory points
at a better rate,
for better rates, from $2 to $5. But each round, one of those ticks away, and it's the cheapest one. So the $2 exchange rate's only available the first round, and then it goes away.
See, my problem is you only get so many workers. There's just too much stuff to do, and it's like, and then I think
that's typical in every worker placement game ever made.
I know.
Yeah, but with not knowing the game, it's kind of brutal.
Well, I mean, I don't think this was the best playthrough. One playthrough on this. You definitely need to play it more times to get a feel for it.
And I had fun enough that I would want to play it again. I thought it was a very interesting puzzle. I thought it was very, I want to try it again pretty soon. I mean, I definitely liked it the last half because I was finally doing stuff I wanted to do, and it worked and it was fun. The first half I didn't have fun with because I didn't understand it, and so I think that now that we can approach it with some understanding, it'd be a different game.
Well, I think I had advantage to the fact that I did read more of the rules, and I knew you needed to buy victory points early. And then also, I got a good mechanic working where I had the mines and the bank, which played very nicely against each other. So I had owned pretty much all the mines, except for you had one, I think.
Well, but I mean, I worked out my strategy with the general store and having the homesteads. Mm-hmm. So, like, I figured that out, but then it was trying to remember to buy the victory points.
Well, for me, it was that. I mean, I had the general store early. I just didn't, because I didn't understand the rules well enough. I didn't get to place it when I bought it. And so I lost a whole turn of not scoring on that building, and that would have got me quite a few points.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there was a lot of different things that happened that was one of those, I could have played that better. I could have played that a whole lot better.
But I don't want to take that away from the gameplay. Just because I didn't understand it and because I couldn't stay awake through the rules, I don't want to count that against the game because this is a good game. And I don't want to give anybody the impression that because I didn't understand it that I didn't like it. I did like it.
Yeah, but I mean, even with that disadvantage, you guys came within 10 of me at the end. I mean, you really made up for that back,
Right.
Miranda was ahead, she made up for it a little bit along the way, but you, in the last round, just dominated.
Yeah, I think for me, though, the beginning was actually very boring, and maybe because I didn't understand it.
I agree.
Towards the end, though, it got a little more, okay, where can I get my victory points? And I was kind of getting into the groove there. So I almost feel like I need another playthrough to really determine where this game is at.
I think so, too. But I think that I do understand it well enough now that I can give a good first impression of the game.
Okay, what would you give it then?
I'm going to give it an 8. I think it's a pretty solid game. I think that I could even give it a higher score once I understand it better. But like Randy, it's a good puzzle. And I love a good puzzle.
So, what about you? What's your score?
Well, given the fact that we just scratched the surface on this game, I mean, literally, we played with the bare bones basics.
Right.
And I'm just amazed by how much flexibility there is in this. I mean, the replayability in this game is through the roof. You've got 38 different characters in essence to make combinations of. You've got the horse expansion. There's at least 3 or 4.
There's like 4 or 5
expansions
expansion modules in the big box that we got
that are going to change this game tremendously. And we haven't even figured out this.
Right, just the base game.
You know, and there's so much more to do that we didn't do. And we played it 3-player. It plays up to 6.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be
6 would
very
be
combative. I mean, there's
for sure.
When you look at there's 7 roles for buildings. You know, if you're trying to build buildings with 6 players, we're going to be fighting
you
over
got
buildings.
the top 4, and then you got the buildings, and then victory point conditions.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie. I would be very nervous me trying to play with 6 players. I don't think I would.
I think I would like to try it just to see what it's like. But I think you're right. I think that it'd become so combat heavy that I won't like it because just the negative feelings that combat usually has that goes with it. But it would be worth trying it. The amount of tension might be worth it.
I think it'd be more interesting having the combat because we only had 1 combat in the whole game,
right.
And it was basically already one-sided, decided before we ever started. You know, I think it'd be much more interesting, and I think the guns will have a lot more purpose. You know, I just used them for a cash source, but they didn't really have any purpose in the game. I think that adding that aspect to it's going to make it much more interesting. So I'm going to give this a 9. I mean, because I think the 8's a fair score for this play.
Yeah.
But I think it's got so much more potential for the things we
I
could
agree,
have
but
had
I don't want to go out until I try.
Yeah,
because
no,
I may not
understand.
like the other stuff. So.
I feel a little out of place here.
Why is that?
Because I don't think it's a 9. I don't think it's an 8.
Oh, well, what do you think?
I mean, I just with the enjoyment factor, I think I'll go with the 7. I think there's a lot here. And it may partially, some of it's tainted with that first half and the rule reading, because that was rough. It was a puzzle, but it wasn't a fun puzzle for me.
Oh.
So, I mean, yeah, I get what you guys are saying. I'm like, oh, it's a puzzle. It just wasn't fun for me. And I can't tell you why. So that first half may be tainted, and I may change that if we were to play it again.
Well, I hope we do. I hope that we don't shelve this and forget to play it, and when we bring it out in 2-3 years or whatever, we'll go through this all again because we didn't remember how to play it.
Yeah, I will say though, this game, I see the heavy combat, and that also makes me nervous, and that's also why I'm going to downgrade it a little bit.
I get that.
Because that's not my cup of tea. I just want to build.
I'm very picky when it comes to combat in games and how it makes me feel. Some I like, some I don't. So.
Yeah, so I would be very nervous
how
this could go because, yeah.
Well, I like that they give you a recovery system for the boss.
Right.
Because you get the worker back.
And that might be why it'll be okay, because even though it might hurt, it won't destroy you.
Yeah.
I hate combat that just when you lose, your game's over. That, I'm on the same page with you. I won't play it.
Yeah.
If it's game-ending combat, I won't like it.
So, yeah, there's a few things that make me nervous about doing this. So, I'm at a 7 for this one.
I get it.
And honestly, I think this one's just maybe not my cup of tea. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun tonight. Hopefully, you guys did too. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye. Notification bell. Subscribe button.